do not necessarily reflect those of Star 927, its affiliates, or sponsors. Live from the 927 studios.
And good afternoon and welcome to Straight Talk. This is your Drive at 5 show. And I am your host, Catherine Tyson. And today is Wellness Wednesdays. And you know that also means hump day in the working world. That's the term that we use. We get to the middle of the week and we're almost over that hump. So yeah, that's what today is. For me, it's Wellness Wednesdays. And I love Wellness Wednesdays because it's really talking about all things wellness, all things about your health and taking care of yourself and taking care of the people around you that love you and that you love. And that is so, so, so important, especially this time of year. So, welcome to the show. Appreciate you tuning in and sticking around with us for the next hour for sure. I also want to just jump right in and introduce my guest who has joined me this afternoon, Ms. Carmela Pugh. Hello, Ms. Carmela.
Hi.
Hi there. So yes, yes. Hi. Yes, I know, right? You know the stuff, man. Yeah. So welcome to the show. Carmela and I are actually colleagues. We work together with the Passport to Success program, and that's one of my day jobs. I have a team, because I'm from the island. So, yeah, and you and I work together. We've been working together for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's been an absolute blessing to me. I have to say that. I say that to your face and behind your back, that I am blessed to have met you. I'm blessed to sit next to you. And I consider we are the dream team. We are a dream team.
Yeah,
For sure. Yeah. And we definitely we're on the line there, working for the Passport to Success program and working with these young people that we fall in love with, cohort after cohort, and then we have to say goodbye to. And we're nearing the brokenhearted stage right now because this week we're graduating our sixth cohort together.
Yeah. Wow.
But 32 for the Passport to Success program. So it's been going for a long time and run by the Wellness Center, but coming from the Workforce Opportunities and Residency, KMAT. That's just such a mouthful.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Well, I failed the test, but I got it this time. Thank you. So I hope I get some points there. It's just such a great thing, really, to be working with young people, and obviously me working with young people and working for the future with the future is so important to me. And I'm constantly, you and I talk all the time because there's a great age difference between us, and almost like a daughter, and I love that. But there's so much that we bring from both of both kind of directions. That you bring it from your experience, but also the age that you are, and I bring it from my experience and the age that I am. And I really love being at this stage and age of my life where I want to see young people be able to take up their take up the reins or take their place at the table, and because I want to relax.
Yes.
I want that. I want you all to be able to just run with it. And we're watching you like, look at that. That's amazing.
Right.
It's continuing. That's a big thing for me.
Yeah. Well, no, I have to say thank you for your very kind words. It's always obviously a privilege to work with young people and to see them at this really key point in their lives, trying to figure everything out. So it's always a privilege to be part of that. And the journey, I couldn't imagine it without you. We have cried a lot and laughed.
Me crying, by the way, not her. I haven't seen her shed a tear.
I come with the tissues on there with the arm. One of us has to hold it together sometimes.
Right.
But no, it's always an experience, and I think we're both continuously learning just about these young people. It just never ceases to amaze me.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times they're underestimated as a population. So it's a pleasure, and it's a pleasure working with you. Not just a colleague, but definite friend. So
thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. You're right. There has been a lot of crying on my part for sure, because and cussing. You didn't mention the cussing.
I wasn't going to go there.
I'm praying for the cussing. I'm gonna pray for me, please. I'm gonna pray for me. because trust me, some days I can't find another word. So Carmela with her nice, proper British self.
I try, yeah.
So yeah, we've been gritting teeth and we go through it and we're on the line and we're fighting for and fighting them for themselves, young people every day. And so definitely it is something that we all of us, and that's the listening audience, that's everybody that you know, we all should be working together to ensure that our young people are taken care of, that they are prepared for their what's next. That's so important. I want to read this little quote and then we can start chatting a little bit. Thank you so much again for joining me this Wellness Wednesday. Carmela knows that she's kidnapped by me regularly. Can you explain that, please? Explain the kidnap.
It's not as bad as it sounds, and there's normally something great at the end of it. It's just the surprising journey that takes us somewhere where I somehow find myself in your car, heading somewhere, and I just wait to see what happens when I get there. Absolutely. To be honest, yeah, I wouldn't change it.
I don't know where you're going some days. Some days there are hitchhikers.
Yeah, the first experience was shocking, but I'm 2 years in now, so right. Yeah, it's just like I just pick up my bag and off I go.
Let's go. Yeah, I had a hitchhiker in Carmela's car one day. One day I was like, all right, come on. She's going. Carmela's like, what is going on? I'm like, we're just dropping her out of town. Do you know her? No. It doesn't matter. She's getting a drop town. And she's laughing because obviously in the UK, no.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of that.
Well, there's probably not a lot of people wanting to get into a stranger's car, as well as you not wanting to take a stranger in your car.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends whereabouts you are, and there's a lot of transport options, right? So people will just jump on a bus or something. But I just remember we were on like an industrial park, so this lady had no way of getting anywhere. Right. We were on the job as always, and then she just bundled in and joined us.
Yeah.
I went.
Just hailed us. Hey, how are you? Good. So by the time we came back out, she hailed us again. I was like, she needs something. What's going on? You going to town? Yes, I am. Come on, let's go. It was, it's that. It really is. And that's what we call our humankind. Yeah. You know, so if you really have just heard the word, but you didn't know what it means, that's what it means. It means that you can end up on a journey with random acts of kindness at all times, and that's it. And someone's going to do it for you too. That's the thing.
Yeah, and it's beautiful, and there's karma, and I believe in that. Like, I want to be that person that helps somebody, because one day that's going to be me, right? I could be in that position where I just need somebody to do something kind for me.
Exactly. And I think even on our journey together, some days we do get things like that. We get people doing things for us, and we don't even know them, and we're like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's how it is. Let's just keep moving, you know? It's lovely. It really is. And I think me having lived in a larger place, I appreciate it so much because it's just the quaintness of it. And I'm sure you now being here, like you said, 2 years later.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
So all hands on deck. So here's the thing that I wanted to read. Be yourself. 20 years from now, this is for young people, obviously, and I think all of us really, 20 years from now, looking back, you will not regret being true to yourself, your friends, and your core values. Don't change for anyone or pretend to be something you are not to gain approval. You will regret it sooner or later. Don't follow the crowd. Be yourself. Fitting in is not nearly important in the big scheme of things as you may think it is right now. This is the time for you to figure out who you are. Don't waste a second trying to be someone else. Who someone else may want you to be. Isn't that something?
That's so true.
That is so true. And I think even not just young people, right? I think at any point in your life, because we're changing all the time, right? So I remember the 20-year-old Catherine is very different than the 30-year-old Catherine, you know, and the 30-year-old Catherine is very different from this Catherine, right? So each time I look back, I can see the differences. Yep. And I think that what I just read is so true. You know, I'm not putting a lot of time into regret, right? I'm trying to live right now.
Absolutely.
So I think we could all benefit from that.
Yeah, and I think just like the concept of trying to be authentic is really tough when you're a young person, because how do you know who you are? You might have an idea of the types of things you're interested in, but maybe none of your friends do those things.
Right.
So it's like, oh, I'll just leave that part of me, whether it's like, maybe it's that creative side that you have, whatever it is.
Right.
And even now as adults, like we're a product of our social environments a lot of the time. So we kind of find ourselves trying to bend and trying to fit a mold so that we fit in all the time. But there's no shame in being who we are, because somebody out there's going to love us for who we are regardless, right?
Right.
They're just got to be able to see it.
Yeah, and I think there's enough space for us in the world. There's enough for all of us. So yeah, definitely. I think, and working with young people, we find that a lot. We find where they have no idea who they are. And sometimes we can see who they are.
Yeah.
And they're fighting it. Like, isn't that funny? Like, I think for the last 2 years in these groups of people, especially young people that we've worked with, and I've worked with young people for, 30 years, right? But just being in like a classroom setting or a program setting where I get to see the same young people for 15 weeks or 16 weeks, 11 weeks, 8 weeks, like that has been so significant because it's taken me back to the days when I taught middle school, and just watching the same people and learning them so much and wanting them to see who they are.
Yeah.
If you saw yourself, well, I don't like that. Well, I don't like to talk in front of people. Well, I'm not good at that. And they're amazing.
Yep.
Like if you could see how amazing you are. So how do we combat that? How do we start, making some changes? Like how do we, even as a community, how do we start doing our part to ensure that our young people are learning themselves, figuring out their own stuff, being secure in their own stuff, and not have to feel like they need to be a part of the crowd?
Yeah.
How do we start doing that?
It's tough, right? It's very tough, and I think we see it in a program setting, but we're just all too aware of what's going on in terms of an education setting. Right? That's where, especially if we are working with young people who maybe weren't as academic as others, they've then got that ingrained in them that they tell themselves a lie of, I'm not smart, I can't do this, I don't read well, I don't write well, and it's that confidence. So sometimes it's really as simple as just giving somebody that confidence boost, right? And just encouragement and showing them that they can do it.
Absolutely.
You can stop telling yourself that lie, give it a go, and look at how amazing the results are.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you know what I love about this program? I have complaints, obviously, about it. I think that it's not long enough. It needs something. It needs so much things. I mean, and I just have fallen in love with just these groups of young people, and I'm glad that they have something, right? But one of the things that I really love about a program like this is it's not an educational setting. So it's not about who's going to fail or pass.
Right.
You come as you are, and we're just working to help you build yourself. So we're helping you with work-ready skills, but work-ready skills is really about self-awareness too. It's about the stuff that you're doing or not doing that's going to garner the results that you need to be successful in the working world.
Absolutely.
That I love, because when the education system in a sense is pressured with you passing something, and so therefore the smartest kid's gonna get everything because your results are gonna show how great a teacher I am, how great an institution I have, right? How the education system is amazing. That one who keeps failing, not failing, is gonna give us a bad looking result. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the pressure is there, and so the guy in the middle who's just a joker or doing whatever. Well, I can't fool with you either, because you see what I mean? Yeah. It's weird, right? Because now you have 29 or 25 in a class. I don't have time for all of these people, which is sad. We have got to figure out how to change that. And I know in the UK, it could probably mirror the US, where they do have different tiers or different pull-out programs, so that there are different learning styles in one classroom. That makes it a little bit easier. But when you do have that pressure, you really are kind of focused on the person who's passing, who's doing well. Yeah. Wherein with us, we're focused on every single one of them. Like no one is escaping us. And they know it. And they hate it sometimes, because there's no one falling through the cracks. There's no one slipping through the cracks. Yeah. And we're learning them. Obviously my background is in social work and psychology, and your background has been in human services, right? So your professional qualifications are you're a lawyer, but you've worked in human services for a long time, and now you're actually studying your master's in psychology. So let's talk a little bit about that. Just give us a little bit of your background with human services.
Okay. So I graduated from law school and then found myself in healthcare services management and mostly kind of community development and looking at various kind of projects that were going on, specifically for people with neurological conditions, special needs, learning disabilities, intellectual disabilities, acquired brain injuries, and then went on to specialise a little bit more working with the elderly and people living with dementia. But for me, it just really feels like kind of regardless of what sector of society I'm working with, it just always comes back to that human element. And so teaching these young people every day has been amazing to work with a different demographic and see all of the different crossovers that there are. Because at the end of the day, we are human. We have all the same basic needs.
Right.
We just need some love and some care and some encouragement. And so I found myself involved in this program, which has been amazing. And it just felt for me the natural step was to then go and get some theoretical background, because then picking up all this kind of practical experience. But it was really important to get some of that down on paper and to have a look at what are the theories behind this. How can I make sure that I'm kind of designing this and delivering this in the best way possible? What are these people telling me? The coach, the psychology of work, like what's the spoken word. So that's kind of where I found myself now, which is really exciting.
Yeah. And it's so funny as you're saying that, because it really is such an amazing, it's an amazing field to be in. Mm-hmm. I just remembered today in the classroom when I asked one of the students where they fell in their family. Did you remember that? And it was that aha moment for me, literally. And I wish I had asked this question like 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, when I'm like, we're wrong, what happened? It's like, oh, that's what's wrong with you. Okay, so come here. This is what we need to be doing. Right? But that was what we were just saying. And there is the theories, there is the stuff, and I, just being able to go back to what I've learned and stuff like that. It's amazing, those moments that occur. It is really good to have that theoretical, kind of foundation and understanding, so that you can start where they are and work your way with them, right? Because sometimes I'm all the way up here and I'm like, come on, get up here with me. But then when I find out a little bit more about them, I can kind of slow down, back up a little bit and go, all right, we'll walk together.
Yeah. And that is one of the joys of the program, that, like you say, they're all taken as individuals. There is no kind of lumping them all in together and expecting them all to write a beautiful assignment that's perfect with no grammar errors. Like, that's not what it's about. Maybe you're kind of, one of your strengths is your public speaking, and we're going to work on that with you, or whatever it is. It's just embracing individual talents and strengths and working on individual weaknesses, which is, the education system doesn't have time to do that, right? And it would be unfair to expect teachers in that kind of environment to even try to do some of that. So the fact that we have the luxury of being able to take that time with them individually and getting to know them as people is amazing.
Absolutely. And I think that just kind of not being a teacher is, because that's not the requirement of this program. The program definitely requires this human understanding, right? So this psychologist or this social worker, like, it really is so important, because like you said, in the classroom, I completely agree. And I know that when you're trying to teach something and you're trying to make sure they get it, they need to get it so we can move on to the next thing. And so all those things are going to add up to the CXC exam, right? Or the GCSE exam. And then those passes are going to translate to something. And yesterday I was talking about how we're also focused on university, but university cannot be the be all and end all either, because we need so many different variations. And I think in a program like Pathway to Success, we do see that those opportunities are definitely going to need to manifest themselves more, because more than likely the students may not be those high academic achievers per se, but they're amazing, or not, but, and they're amazing, right? Because it's honestly not the be all and end all. And I think That gives me, just thinking for myself, when I graduated high school, I graduated with 2 passes. And I'm pretty doggone brilliant. Tongue in cheek, by the way. But just imagine 2 passes. I had a drama pass. I don't know where I got that from. And an English pass. Right? Yeah, makes sense. 2 passes. And so, but because a lot of things that occurred, like in my primary school days, I was like always at the top. And then somehow in middle school, I kind of fell through, moved around a lot, lots of craziness. Was in Miami and Boston and New York, you name it. And then it just it wasn't like a priority. And so I graduated with 2 passes, but yet I can still tell the story of having a bachelor's degree by 30, and having my master's degree now 18 years, like it's been a long time. So that's the whole point, right? And I think that's the step that we need to be thinking about. Like, it's okay that you might have struggled. In high school, you can kind of find yourself, because you never know where you academically are. But in the event that you're not at the top academically, it doesn't matter. Like, it's okay. There are so many different careers that you can look at, and there are so many different ways to be successful. And so we have to kind of stop with the whole, everybody has to have a bachelor's degree, everybody has to have a PhD or a master's degree. Like, where's that coming from?
Right. Yeah, and then like there are some brilliant minds out there. There are some brilliant young people, and even now you only have to look to some local businesses that have been created by incredible entrepreneurs who weren't the best, they weren't the top in the class in terms of academics, but they've just got that brain, they've got that business brain and logistics, whatever it may be, and it's playing to those strengths again and not worrying that you maybe fell behind and didn't do great in English and maths.
Exactly. So what would we then tell? Maybe we could tell parents something. Maybe that could be something that we could tell them. Maybe we could tell parents that they should maybe talk more to their children or to their young people, to create that relationship, but to not feel like they have them feeling that they have to go to college if that's not the thing that they're equipped to do.
Right.
In the event that that's that. And if you're going to talk about college, well, then you have a job to do to prepare them for that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? They're your responsibility. So if you're gonna talk about college and your child going on to further education or to be a lawyer, but yet you're not checking to see how their English scores are looking, and they're in year 6 or year 7, then you're giving them a mixed message.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right? Yeah, and I think the systems aren't particularly easy to navigate, and they're definitely not easy to navigate when you are 16. You need somebody there who can sit down and say, are you on track? What do you need? How do we apply for this? Let's go and look at what grants are available, whatever it is. But we can't expect our young people to do that on their own. So for sure, definitely some encouragement, and just to keep on tabs with what they're doing, where they're at.
Yeah.
But also we see sometimes our students convinced that they have to go down one path,
right?
Because mum's told me that I should be working in an office, I should be doing admin, and we know they don't really want to work in an office. They're brilliant in other ways, it's for them. Right. I think again, having those open conversations. What are you good at? What do you love?
Right.
What can we look into for you? Because there's not just one box that you have to put in.
Well, it's so funny because we've had a couple of students come through our program that has had 6, 7, 8 passes. Brilliant. Doesn't want to go to another day of school. I'm done with this. I did this with parents. I can't do this anymore. And just really kind of being in a conundrum in a way, like, okay, what am I going to do next? Like, clearly I'm brilliant, but I don't want to be a mathematician. I don't want to be an accountant. I don't want to be a lawyer. What do I do? And it's really about, okay, how do you find your way? Yeah. So what is it that you want to do? Like, let's start thinking about your own life. What do you want to do? What do you like doing? And I think we ended up like getting him an internship, or and the other one was a young lady, get an internship like in a restaurant or something. Loves it, could own a restaurant one day, could be a maitre d' one day, could be like a big manager one day in a restaurant. Currently bringing home $100 a day, in tips. So yeah, like parents, just kind of like get to know your children, talk to them, create a relationship with them. The older that your children get, the more opportunities that you have now to create a friendship. So, you're kind of through the raising part, because I just remember, like, raising kids is really difficult. You and I talk about your mom's a single mom,
Right.
and you're an only child. And so, the pressures, right, that she might have had, and there are things that she directed you in, this is what you're going to do. You're not going to do that. This is how this is going to work. And so it's a lot of work. But when they get a certain age, so when you kind of put that work in early, this is what I found with mine. When you put the work in early, it's a little easier to navigate, with the friendships that you can develop with them is amazing. And I'm not saying to be friends with your 11-year-old, 11 to 15, they don't know. Forget it. That ain't a friendship stage. I can tell you that right now. Work with them, try to keep your hands off them. But the friendship that you're expecting is not going to be then, but the relationship can begin to build, set those foundations. And then when they kind of get over that hump of confusion and, who my friends are being and what they want from me, when they can kind of get through that, your friendship together can really blossom and flourish. And you can be that source of a safety for them to walk through what's next.
Yeah.
What does my what's next look like? Because who else are they talking to? They're going to be talking to their friends. And their friends don't have the information that you have.
Yeah, they don't know either. That's the problem. They're advising each other, but no one really knows, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and I think that that's one of the things. If I had an observation, I don't want to call it a complaint, but if I had an observation about the problems that I see with some of the young people, it would be the relationship with their parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would be the shortfall. Yeah.
I think you'd be surprised with what our young people that we talk to, how happy they are to open up, the things that they do share. So the idea that they can just go home and have that conversation with a parent, build that relationship, ask those questions, that might just surprise you.
And I'll tell you what, they love you.
Yeah.
If you're confused about your child loving you, as a social worker, as a person that's experienced in working in human services, I can tell you, your children adore you. There is no one like you in the world. It doesn't even matter the terrible things you've done. I'm telling you, it is bizarre, but they love you. So it is on you to try to be that safe space for them, to be able to come and talk to you. Find ways to do that. Find ways to, I used to do it on the drive to school, on the drive to work. I do it, maybe when I'm cooking dinner, get them all in the kitchen with me and playing music, and we're singing and we're laughing, and then we sit down or whatever it is, like instead of everybody going to their room and eating. Right. But that's all. Even if we're sitting on the couch, like this is where we are, and it gives them an opportunity to really open up and listen to you. You can listen to them, but they can also just have somebody to talk to, have that safe place. Yeah, for sure. So you're listening to Wellness Wednesdays. This is Straight Talk Drive at 5. We're talking about basically just talking about parenting and our young people and how we need to foster them, kind of be there for them. My guest is Carmela Pugh. She is my colleague at the Passport to Success program, and we're just here just chatting. So if you wanted to join us in the conversation, 943-3700. Hope you stick with us. We'll be back with more, so stay tuned.
3700. More straight talk to come on Star 927.
Kirk Freeport's Black Friday weekend sale is bigger than ever, with up to 70% off an incredible selection of watches, jewelry, and accessories. Even better, Kirk Freeport is giving extended access to the sale all day Thursday through Monday. Find the sale at Bayshore Mall and Cardinal Avenue, or enjoy late night shopping at the Strand until 9 p.m. Get unbeatable discounts from brands including Roberto Coin, Swarovski, Bulgari, Masica, Doves, Ippolita, Lagos, Fossil, and many more. Plus, take an additional 10% off all non-branded sale merchandise. It's Black Friday all weekend at Kirk Freeport. Visit kirkfreeport.com for full details.
Burger King Sawyer, the perfect burger is ready.
Very well. Tell me.
It's a quarter pounder
melted cheese and mayo. You see, the simplicity is what makes...
Add another patty.
Another? But Sawyer, that will make it a half-pounder.
Add bacon.
Bacon?
Crispy onions.
Burger King has gone wild and brought back the Steakhouse King. 2 quarter-pound plain grilled beef patties, thick-cut bacon, A1 thick and hearty sauce, crispy onions, melted cheese, and mayo. Only $7.50 or $10.35 for the combo, and only at Burger King for a limited time.
Christmas miracles do come true. Renegade, Execution Rentals, and Event Pro presents Enchanted.
Baby, when the bright lights start to fade, fire up.
Saturday, December 26th at Coral Beach. Music by Selector Renegade, Joshy Vibes, DJ Craig, and DJ Diesel. Come get enchanted as we transform Coral Beach. Cabanas, VIP, and ball service will be available. Tickets are now on eventpro.ky. Come get enchanted Saturday, December 26th at Coral Beach.
Man style different, step up on them.
Imagine you had one wish, a wish that builds courage, creates hope, inspires change. Rubus Pure Joy Wish Fuel Thinking has arrived. Win weekly cash prizes, and 6 people will win $5,000 in cash as a Pure Joy Wish. Every time you fuel up with $25 or more at any Rubus service station, it's a win. Win for you and these 5 great charities: Feed Our Future Cayman, Alex Panton Foundation, Humane Society, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and the Cayman Islands Cancer Society. Rubus Pure Joy Wish Fuel Thinking ends December 20th. Terms and conditions apply. Rubus, fuel the difference.
And welcome back to Straight Talk. This is your Drive at 5 show, and this is your host, Catherine Tyson. And this is Wellness Wednesdays. And, you know, we're talking about all sorts of topics that are so necessary to just be well and stay well. And today I'm joined by my amazing colleague, co-worker, from a day job, extraordinary. I won't call you all kinds of stuff. Anyway, Carmela Pugh. I'm done with the whole introduction.
It was a lot.
I was going down a road. I almost got lost. Carmela Pugh, and she is a lovely, lovely young lady. I forget your age all the time. You know, I don't know why, but I do. You were driving behind me today, and you were driving fast. And maybe you think of you as like a little old lady going. So I'm like, she's driving fast.
I know my husband's not listening to this. He's going to be like, "Why are you driving fast?"
Oh no, you do drive fast because I was in your car last week. You were flying. You were like a young person.
I mean, I'm kind of young.
You are, exactly. I don't know why. I just think of you as ageless. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Ageless and wise, maybe.
Wise in your years.
I'm going to cling on to that, and not that I remember you as a little old lady.
I think if you have a new car. Remember the car that you had before? You couldn't fly in that. The little Mini, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I just felt like we were sitting on the road most of the time.
Well, yeah, there is that. And then I realized that like Cayman floods, right? So buying a Mini was a really bad idea.
Yeah. It was so cute. It was so cute. Yeah. But no. So now you have an Explorer like all the way above everything. So
and like an old lady.
That's smart. That's smart. No, it's not that. All right, I'm lost with the old lady stuff. Okay, let's get back on track. So, Carmela is my colleague. We work with the Passport to Success program, and we have been doing that for the last 2 years. And we have been working with some amazing young people. This is the 6th cohort. It will be graduating on Friday, and so we are ushering out a new set of young people into the world with our broken hearts, of course, because we don't want to let go. We just don't want to let go. It's not even time, but what can we say? So, yeah, today I think we're just talking about the listeners. If you're listening and you have a young person in your home, or even one of these, or one of this from the 6 groups that we've dealt with, you know, just your role. What's your role in all of this? We all have a role in ensuring that our young people are ready for work, ready for their life, ready for their what's next. And if you are 30, 40, and above, you know what's next. You've seen what's next. They don't know. They haven't seen it. So they need us, all of us, to be responsible, right? And to really to own that, to own our place in it.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be a parent, then it is of the utmost importance. And before the break, I was kind of reminding you of how much they love you, because they do. If you're a parent, you're driving, you're watching us on the Facebook stream, your kids love you. You hear me? Like, seriously, don't doubt it for a second. Go get them right now. Go hug them. Go talk to them. Go see what's going on in school. Go see what's happening with them. If they come home, they're frowning, find out why. If they have a problem with their friend, find out why. Just ask them questions, talk to them. They literally think you're a rock star. Like, that's one thing I found as a parent. Like, no one was ever that excited to see me. Every day I walked through that door, hey, it was like, it's crazy. Literally, I had people screaming when I was home. And even now when I see that, I see that. Yeah, I'm a girl, man. So that's who you are if you're a parent. So yeah, definitely take responsibility for that, man, and try to help usher them into their what's next, because they don't know, and we see it every day, and it's something, and they're walking around like they're grown.
Yes, they sure are.
But uninformed. Saying foolishness, doing foolishness, because they don't know. So let's help them. Yeah. Let's help them with information. Some of the things I think that we work with a lot, or we see a lot, is peer pressure. Huh?
Absolutely, yeah. I think, and it's funny how that even happens in the small groups that we deal with. You automatically recognize those strong characters.
Yes.
You can see those that are used to kind of following. Really good kids, like really good students, but it's too tempting, to not go over to the dark side. And it's tough. It's really tough out there. And we do hear a lot of stories of kind of what they're getting up to, some of them, or just students that we're getting away from passport, just young people generally. There are so many pressures, right, coming at you from all different directions, whether it's relationships or just your best friends getting in some kind of mix-up, or you got nothing better to do, so you're finding yourself with a certain crowd. It's really hard.
Yes, it is. It is definitely. And funny, one thing that we always say too, like, we hate when they take breaks. Like, we hate when they take like a lunch and they go off, go off with someone else, and then they come back after lunch. They always like in a mood. So we always tell them, like, just give yourself a break. Like, see that person after 3, when class is finished. Enjoy your lunch break. Enjoy your break. And this is even to you, if you're listening, if that happens to you, where you might have some stress in your life, and at 12 o'clock, you're being picked up by the stress. So by the time you get back to work at 1 o'clock, you're in a mood, you're not functioning properly, your job is not being affected. Like, just don't do that. Go get yourself a patty. Go sit down in the lunchroom and read a book. Or listen to a song with your earphones on or something, and just leave that alone. Like, literally, don't bring that into your. You see what I mean? Like, that makes sense, right?
I'm so glad that you took it there, because it isn't just a young people thing,
right?
It isn't just a young people thing of trying to figure things out. We do it all the time,
yeah.
And we all have friends or family or ourselves that are guilty of letting other people take away our joy momentarily. And when we let them do that in the middle of the day, and we've still got a few hours of work, or we've still got kids to take care of, or whatever it is, it's like we've kind of done that to ourselves, and we're letting people do that to us. So definitely take that time.
Yeah, definitely. And if that's even just the beginning of it, because eventually you got to sort it out. You need to sort out what's happening, something wrong, sort it out. But let that be the first control that you can take, and say, you know what? No, I'm not gonna do that to myself. I'm gonna give myself a break. Yeah. So I remember when my daughter was young. I wanted to take a day off, and I was like, oh goodness, I'm so tired, I'm just exhausted, I want to take a mental health day. And she was like, what are you doing? I said, oh, I think I'm just going to stay home. She was like, oh my goodness, we are staying home today. I was like, oh no, you get your clothes on. We're out of here. Oh, no. Because she was like, look at us. And all I could think was all day, mommy. But that's not what I had in mind. I had let me get in my pajamas and lay down, rest, and get my thoughts together, watch what I want to watch on TV, not have to worry about something that's, that she has to watch. And because I'm very careful with that, right? And it was funny because when she did that, I was like, no, we're going, let's go. Everybody's going. I thought to myself, that's what my job is representing for me today. So it's a little break. So I'm going to drop my babies off to school and I'm going to go and enjoy this day. I'm going to greet everybody. Good morning. Thanks so much for calling. How are you? What do you need? Oh, absolutely. I'm going to find that for you. No, let me just call and put you through. No, and it just gives a different appreciation for my job. Right? So now, like when I talk to groups or I teach groups and stuff, I'm like, listen, that's your break. Come on, man. Don't be answering that phone. Tell them I'm working. So yeah, that's so important. And it really is that thing that I think what we don't realize is our children learn from us. Mm-hmm. So they might see you doing the same things and they're doing it too. So they're walking into the classroom at 1:00 and they're mad or they're upset or somebody is just bothered the rest of the day. They can't even function anymore. And so that's just not good work ready skills because now you're going to take that into the working world. So we need to really be very mindful of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And it isn't just kind of that them physically going away, taking that break. I've got to bring it up. It's the dreaded cell phones. It's the fact that maybe they'll get that message at 2:00 and they still have another hour. And we know young people who have secured employment and lost it because they just can't put that phone away. It's the same premise, right? It's like just stop the phone. Let those people, whatever they're doing in your lives, let them do that elsewhere. You've got money to make or you've got learning to do, whatever it is that your situation is. Just focus on yourself. Give yourself that time to just be you and not let other people get in on it.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny that the cell phone is such a big problem, right? Because I remember I have a friend that lives in Chicago, and I was visiting Chicago. Didn't know that I would even reach out. I think when I got there, I went there for something for the summer with one of my children. And as I got there, I thought, oh, you know what? Diana's from Chicago. Let me look her up. Mm-hmm. And so I happened to look her up. I found her number and I called her. She was so happy to hear from me. I hadn't seen her in 5 years. We had been on a cruise together and stuff. So it had been years, Mm-hmm. And it wasn't these days with WhatsApp and such. Goodness, this was a long time ago. This might have been over 10 years ago. And she said, okay, I work right down the street from the hotel that you're at. So let's have lunch tomorrow. I said, all right, great. So we planned to have lunch. It was 12:00. We're going to have lunch. So I go to the restaurant, just go around the corner of the hotel and walk to this cantina, whatever, and I'll meet you there for 12. So I went in the restaurant, sat down, and she didn't show. And so I'm calling and I'm getting no answer. Mm-hmm. So I waited I think I actually had lunch. And then about 1:00, I was leaving. And as I was leaving, I ran into this blonde woman. It looks like her, because we look different. It's been like 10, 12 years. And so I was like, she's like, come in. I was like, yeah. Hey, I've been calling. She goes, oh, I can't answer my phone at work. Mm-hmm. I put my phone in my bag. Like, they will not let me answer my phone at work. Like, you will get fired. Right. And I thought that was amazing. I tell that story all the time to groups, especially here in Cayman. I'm like, if you're allowed to look at your phone, like, that's a luxury. Do not take advantage of it. Because here's a woman that literally was not going to meet someone from the Cayman Islands, that had this appointment with her. Nope, didn't matter. And so we ran into each other, which was great. It worked out. But it's a great story because it's like we don't appreciate the fact that we're able to, have an extra 10 minutes for lunch, or we're able to have our cell phones on our desk. Mm-hmm. But not to be on that all day, not to take advantage of that. Yeah. And so our young people are doing it. And then what's happening is we're inviting that madness that might be seeping into your life. Because I always think, who who's that other person that keeps bothering you? Are they working?
What are they doing with
What
their
are they
time right
doing?
now?
Yeah, because if they're not productive, you definitely need to be like, hold on, you need to be productive. But if they are productive, then I think they might be interfering with what they're doing.
Right.
Because eventually, who's going to get enough of that? So how can you really do your best work if you are so, just distracted?
Yeah, and I think the cell phone discussion could go on forever because it just seems to impact everything. And you started the segment with kind of talking about parenting and relationships and conversation,
Right.
and just conversations dying because we're all guilty of it. We'll sit next to our partner or a family member and we'll sit on those phones for hours watching different shows right.
Yeah.
So it's like just making that time to put that to one side and reconnect with people.
That's funny, and I'm glad you brought that up. So I'm sure all of our listeners right now, you might be guilty of that. You might be guilty of sitting down together with someone and everybody's on their phone. How together is that?
Right.
You're so right. Because I remember just, when you go out to dinner and you can look around and everybody's on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how are you really spending time with each other? And then they're taking pictures of their meal. So they're posting this, oh, look what I'm doing right now. Like, what are you doing right now?
Enjoy the food. Talk to your people.
Just calm down. Everybody thinks you're having a great time, but you're actually just on your phone.
Taking selfies, taking pictures of the food.
Oh my goodness. That's deep. I wasn't expecting that. That was deep. So yeah, if we're guilty of that, we need to stop. We really do. I think, of course, we're in a new era. It's a new era for me. Trust me. I mean, I just want to go back to my Nokia. It just rings. I got a text here and there. I was excited about text, man. It used to be beeper days. I know beeper days. Y'all don't even know what a beeper is. That was something beeping on your side. You're looking at it and you got to find a phone and call somebody.
Wow.
That is something. Trust me. You get that beeping thing. Felt important. Nice. Yeah, okay. I'll be right back. Found a house phone. You found a pay phone. You call people, it's like, wow, technology, someone can actually beat me. But now we literally can see the person. We can call Africa and talk to our friend on video.
Yeah.
So we need to calm down, is what I'm saying. Okay? Like, we need to calm down. We have all of this right at our fingertips. We can wait an hour.
Yeah.
We can wait until after work. We can wait until after class, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's try to spend more time with the people that we have in our lives. Let's try to spend more time making a difference, helping our young people to kind of develop what's going on with them so that they're not always looking for something else. There's something else they're looking on the internet for. The internet is not going to lead your children properly. You can't just put the trust in that. You can't trust anybody that's not you. Right? Because you have your child's best interest at heart.
Yep.
That's one thing I learned too in my life. I think just in social work also, like, there's no one who's going to love you the way your parents love you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a two-way street relationship, and we have to really do our best to just kind of do better.
Mm-hmm.
I think. So I have another thing I want to read. There's no time in life worth wasting on regrets. Always stay true to who you are and be good to the ones you love. You don't want to spend 1 minute of your future life feeling bad about something you did in the past. And the only way to avoid that is to stay true to your core values, no matter what the situation is. That is something you will never regret. In fact, it will be part of the solid foundation that you've laid out for yourself and will help you to build a stronger character in the future. And forgive yourself if you've done something that you regret or something that you are bothered about. Just forgive yourself. Because even when it's not a popular thing to do or something that makes your life difficult for the time being, always do the right thing. Strive to be a person of integrity, a reliable person who you can be proud of now. And when you look back at these times, you won't have those regrets.
Mm.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time with regrets, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the part there about forgiveness, we have to forgive ourselves. We beat ourselves up too often when we do mess up. We're human. We're going to make mistakes, but keeping those core values, yeah, it's definitely going to help us try and stick on the right path as much as possible, but just be kind to ourselves.
Yeah, and not also be that person that keeps dragging someone back to their mistake, because we can do that too. And I notice that with young people, when you keep reminding them of the thing that they did, they're like, oh my goodness, can we move on? Can we stop? I did it. Can we stop? And that's hard, because it's like always reminding someone, well, don't think you're so good because you did this.
Right.
But forgiving yourself, but also being able to forgive people.
Yeah.
That's important. Really important. So yeah, for sure. Now I wanted to just touch on money. Yeah, like how are we teaching our children about money? That's a big area I think that we fail in. I don't know if the schools are teaching it. What is money?
It's kind of every aspect of money, right? We see the peer pressure of wanting to kind of keep up with everybody else and feeling like you have to spend whatever little money you may have on the big things that everybody else has, whether it's a pair of sneakers or a $2,000 phone or whatever it is.
Right.
There's that making sure that you want to be a part of the group, but just the kind of the concept of the value of money.
Right.
We see that get twisted a lot too, kind of with some of the young people we interact with. It's difficult, and budgeting.
Yeah.
Just having someone sit down and talk you through kind of how not to blow your whole paycheck in one go.
Right.
How to save. What choices are you making? Are you making the right ones?
Yeah.
It's really hard. But I know I've kind of really benefited from somebody sitting down and having those discussions with me.
Yeah.
Because if not, I would have spent all my money whenever it came in.
Of course. Yeah. I get addicted to saving too. Like that's a thing, right? When you've not had money, you're kind of like, all right, I don't need it for that, do I? But I remember there was a group that we had that everybody wanted to go to brunches, and they kept talking about brunches. And these were young people that weren't able to buy themselves professional shoes,
right,
for $30. And we took them somewhere and the shoes were $30 and they couldn't afford to buy that. But yet they were talking about having gone to brunch last Sunday and the Sunday before, and we see all the beautiful pictures, and brunch was $85.
Yep.
So yes, brunch is a fatty thing, right? Everybody's doing it. Fatty as in FADDY. We're talking about fatty a lot. It's a liver fatty, like a fad, right? But you just imagine, right? But $85 on brunch. Nobody's saying anything's wrong with it. It's lovely. It's a beautiful time. There's all over the islands, but it definitely is a thing that is a fad right now. So anybody is going to brunch. But if you can't afford it, that's okay too. Like that's the problem, that we don't think it's okay when we can't afford something. You don't have to live like the Joneses. You don't even know what the Joneses are doing. You don't know how they're getting their money. You don't know how much money they have. You don't know how they're keeping it. You don't know what they've sacrificed in order to do what they're doing. So why are you trying to live like them when you don't have the whole information? And don't be pressured by them. That's huge for me, right? And so, and now we're at the Christmas season, so it's very important now to think about that. If you can't afford that $100 pair of shoes for your child, don't buy it.
Right. Yeah, and it's that pressure. I remember having conversations with my mom, like, as you know, who raised me on her own, and we didn't have a lot, and it was tough, and just her feeling that pressure, and we would reflect on it once I was kind of grown. She used to think that I didn't know if she was gone without things, and I somehow end up with something.
Right.
Because she felt that pressure that she had to give me what everybody else was getting. It's just crazy, because as you said a few times tonight, like, kids just love their parents.
Yeah.
Like as you know, she sadly passed away 5 years ago, and I don't look back and think about that time she nearly broke her neck trying to save for a pair of sneakers for me.
Right.
I think about the amazing times we had together, the experiences we had, the conversations. So just to not put that pressure on yourselves as parents.
Absolutely.
They just want you.
Yeah, they do. Like, they want a conversation. They want you to put down your phone. They want you to tell them to put down their phone, actually. And I'll tell you that as a parent. They want you to tell them to put down their phone. They might not like it. They might act like they didn't like it, but tell them to put it down anyway. Okay? Like, that's what I'll say. And I was reminding myself the other day of these books that I found when I was cleaning out one of the rooms. Why Does My Daughter Hate Me So Much? I had bought all these books from Amazon, and I couldn't believe that. I had almost forgotten there was that time in my life, because my daughter's like my best friend.
Right.
And I had like 3 or 4 or 5 books that were just amazing. I was broken those days. I was all like, but I had to still say no. I had to still say, you're not doing that. I had to still say, absolutely not. That will not be your thing. And risk being hated at that time, just knowing, praying, knowing that when we get past this time, we're going to be all right. I didn't know it was going to be real, that we were going to be all right, because it felt so real at that moment. But when I can sit on this side now and find those books, and it take me back for a second that, oh my goodness, yes. So risk that. Your children love you. So if you don't have it, they're okay with that.
Right.
They're not gonna remember that you didn't buy the pair of sneakers in 2020. They're gonna remember that you survived 2020, that you lived, that you made a nice, pot of rice and some beans or something, that they got to sit down with you, that they get to celebrate Christmas with you. That's what they're going to remember. So you ensure that you are their best friend. Make sure that you are a voice in their ear that combats the rest of the voices that are there that don't have the right information or don't have their best interests at heart. I think that's the message we want to leave. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. So here comes Christmas bounding its way towards us, and just relax. I've been saying that all week. Relax. It's going to be all right. But take care of your young people, and build that relationship with them. Teach them the values. Reinforce the values. Show them the values. So it's not just telling them stuff, but what you show them. So when you start to handle yourself differently or handle your problems differently, they're going to be learning from you. So I think that would be like the advice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Ms. Carmela, for joining me. That is Carmela Pugh. She is one of the instructors at the Passport to Success program. She is a part 2 of a dream team. Part 1 being me. And we're just continuing the great work that's been going on for 32 cohorts now. Yes. And thank you all so much for joining us this afternoon. Hopefully you're home. If you're not, I wish you a pleasant travel, getting home and being able to relax on this Wednesday. This was Wellness Wednesday. This is Straight Talk Drive at 5 show. I'm Catherine Tyson, and I'm so glad you turned us on and you kept us going. And I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow, where it will be Thursday's Success 101. We're going to bring you a success, a young Kimani person that's going to talk about their journey to success. And I just can't wait to have that conversation with my guest, this young lady, tomorrow. So please tune in for that. Thank you all so much again for tuning in. Have a great evening.
Connect to the culture.